It is the first official day of tax season, and while it's not everyone's favorite time of the year, you'll want to make sure that you don't procrastinate too much. For tips on filing this year and the types of support that you might want to seek out, we're bringing back our local taxes guy, Charles Wells of Charles Wells Tax Service in Youngstown. Before you wait for your tax returns, you have to put in the work. Charles, what are some of the biggest changes for filers this season?
Really no big changes this year, with the exception of maybe the 1099-K. You might see that if you did some sales online through Venmo, PayPal, things like that. Other than that, everything is pretty much status quo.
And have the child tax credits stayed the same? How much do those account for per child?
So child tax credit looks to be about the same. You're going to get up to $2,000 per child.
Okay. Now, what documents do you need if you're going to have someone help you prepare your taxes? What should you organize?
So the income statements that you'll want to have are your W-2 if you're employed, and then 1099s are your other income statements that you'll receive. You'll have a 1099 NEC if you have independent contract work, self-employment, and then you'll have a 1099 INT is for interest, DIV is for dividends, B for stock sales. So those are going to be most of your income statements you'll want to receive. So you'll want to have those handy. And then if you are self-employed or doing any kind of independent contract work, you'll want to have receipts or a good account of any of your expenses as well as your mileage.
Got it. Now, this is the first day the IRS will let you file, but what's the deadline?
So it depends on whether you're filing as an individual or a business. So partnerships and corporations deadline, that's going to be March 17th this year. It gets extended 6 months into September. And then the individual deadline, which includes sole proprietorship or self-employment, that deadline will be April 15th, and that extends into October.
Now, let's say you can't reach your deadline. Is there a way you can get an extension, and is it very difficult to get that request approved?
No, it's very easy to do. You could file for the extension. It's called for an individual. It's a form 4868. And all you have to do is ask your tax professional to file it for you. It's very easy, and they are automatically approved. So as long as you get it in by the filing deadline, you'll automatically be extended 6 months.
And what should we all consider if we're filing our own taxes online, or maybe you're using a prep software or a website? Anything you should watch out for, or common flaws, so that people don't hit any bumps in the road?
Sure. I would just make sure that you have all of the required documentation before you go and do that filing. I think now that it's open, a lot of people want to file today, but you have to consider that the mailing deadline for W-2s and 1099s is not until the 31st of January. So you might not receive all of your documents until the beginning of February. And then there are some documents, the 1099-B and which is for stock sales, those don't come out until mid-February. So I would just say make sure that you have all of your required information before you get too excited and pull the trigger.
Is this going to be a record year for returns? What's the IRS saying about that? I think a lot of people are excited for the other end of the process when they get that check in the mail.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a record return as far as filing goes or a record year. But as far as refunds go, I would actually expect the refunds to be about the same as they've been, or don't expect a huge refund. I think we've mentioned in the past the withholding tables, they're really meant to break you even. So we're not seeing a lot of really big refunds.
Got it. And when will those checks hit the mail if you do get returns this year?
So I think the earliest refunds you can anticipate are going to be probably the end of February, early March. It really depends on whether you're getting large, like refundable refunds. So if you have a child tax credit or an earned income credit, you won't get that until I think they're releasing those, and the earliest is going to be like March 3rd.
Okay, important dates to watch for coming up. Thank you so much for helping us as always, Charles. If people want to find you, how can they reach out?
Oh, they could just Google Charles Wells Tax Service. They could call and text. All my information's online.
Okay, wonderful, Charles. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
All right, thanks. All right, bye-bye.